Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweet the league, we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Working in two in the global inspiration. Talk this world to top news, no hesitation. Sweet the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every perfect rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweet the League Radio.
Welcome to what is normally Wacky Wednesday. We're actually calling it WNBA Wednesday because we've got a very special guest in the house that we're going to bring on here in just a second. Rudy Campos Jr. for Sweep the League coming to you live here from the Sweep the League studios. And it's going to be a fantastic night. We always talk about, the WNBA. We're bringing up past players from WNBA. We're going to have someone join us tonight that's going to help us kind of evolve into today's WNBA, because I still have a lot that I've got to get, with WNBA today. Derek Gervin, obviously, keeps up with it a lot more than I am right now, but I'm excited to have her on tonight. It's going to be Megan Price. She's going to be joining us here in just a little bit. We're going to talk some NBA for the Spurs as well. We're going to get Derek's info on some of the stuff that's going on, because like we mentioned last night with Coach Gio, the Spurs, pretty much the roster's set. So can we kind of identify how many wins they're going to get? Vegas has them at 36. I still can't see that 36 win mark. We'll ask Derek and Megan. We'll get their opinions. And you know what? We'll talk about anything and everything else outside of the sun here. Let's bring them on, man. First, we're going to got the guy, the man, the myth, the legend himself, because I got to introduce him. From here on out, he's introduced as UTSA Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. I'm going to introduce you like that from here on out. That's wow. You gotta get your flowers, man. You gotta get your respect.
Thank you very much, Ruby.
You doing all right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing better than all right now after an introduction like that. Thank you very much, my man. I love you and I appreciate you.
Love you too, man. I got to top it. I think what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to get some fireworks in the background, give you an entrance, because we got taken over by wrestling guys too. So we got to get the entrance going, but let's not waste any time. From 806 Sports Radio, 1440 AM, KPUR in Amarillo. She covers the Sod Poodles, Team USA, and Dallas Wings, WNBA Dallas Wings. She's the host of the Sip Off, Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pod. She does it all, Derek. She does everything, and I follow her work for a very long time. She's actually, we're going to have a little, I guess not a hint or a fact here, is that she actually hosted a Sweep the League episode back in the day when I was out. I think it was on vacation, and her and Rock and Stats were on the show. So she actually hosted an episode. Let's bring her on in. It's Megan Price. Megan, how are you doing tonight, Megan?
I'm doing really well. Right before I came back in, I was getting my steps in, my Twitter group. We got a step challenge going. So I just want to shout out KKN. We're getting our steps in.
That awesome. I used to do a lot of steps, but since I moved, right. I live in like the country now, so I'm scared of snakes and spiders.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, when I get home, I kind of walk around my house. I don't go outside anymore. Okay. I kind of just do life myself. But welcome to the show. I know you hosted an episode a while back of Sweep the League. Mm-hmm. I hope the guys treated you well, because if not,
they were great.
All right, yeah, I was going to say, I got some pink slips. I was definitely going to pass them out if they didn't treat you very well on Sweep the League. So little bit of background. You do work for 806 Sports Radio, 1440 in Amarillo. You're covering the Sod Poodles, the Dallas Wings. You've done some Team USA coverage. Real quick, give us a little bit of background on everything that you've been doing in sports media, because like I said, I've been following you for a while, but a lot of our listeners may not have. So give me a little bit of background real quick.
So my sports journey started a really long time ago. My dad was a sports writer, wrote for the Canyon News, the Midland Reporter Telegram, the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. And so when Cheryl Swoops was winning a championship there in Lubbock, I want to say I was 10 years old, and my dad was covering her. And then currently I am able to cover Leah Chavez, another generational talent out of Lubbock. She is the #1 recruit for the 2025 class. She's amazing. If y'all have a chance to ever check out Aaliyah Chavez, she's phenomenal. But just kind of one of those full circle moments for me to be able to cover a generational talent from Lubbock, like my dad did with Cheryl Swoops. Really enjoyed that. And then my life kind of took a turn outside of sports, and I think a lot of us, once you don't make the college team, your life kind of goes a different direction, right? And when COVID happened, I got into podcasting. It started just as a 5-minute segment as a Dallas Cowboys rep. And, we all know how the 2020 season went for the Cowboys. By November, I was ready to talk basketball. Dak had broken his leg and I was incredibly sad. So it was like, I want to talk basketball. That is my niche and it's what I enjoy. And before you know it, I own 6 different podcasts, and 806 Sports hit me up to be the host Monday through Wednesday, and I really enjoy that, being able to cover a lot of local sports. We get to cover Texas Tech quite a bit as well. And then for the Sod Poodles, I actually do production for, so I'm on the other side of the camera, and I want to say that is probably the most challenging job I've ever had. I learn so much every single day that I'm in there, and if you think just being in front of the camera is tough, try getting behind the camera. Making clips, doing audio, doing crossfire, and then not only are we doing the stuff for the stadium, what the fans that are in the stadium, we're also doing the production for the broadcast that's on MILB.com as well. So I'm super busy this season, and kind of looking forward to baseball season wrapping up.
Awesome, man.
I enjoy it. I'm just busy.
Oh no, I totally get it. Derek, she's got a resume that outshines mine, definitely, with everything that she does. I've been a cameraman for wrestling, RCW wrestling one night.
And that's really cool.
No, it's not, because you have to
get
hard. The camera.
It is hard work
in between the ropes, and I'm like, the guy in my ear is screaming like, "You need to get a better angle. What angle do you want?" I mean, I've got a right here next to me. He can walk on. It's just terrible. So, don't ever want to have me on the camera at all. But thank you again for joining us tonight. We're going to get into our first segment, and the first segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. MCS General Contracting, Leha and the boys out there. I mean, you know what? They do the best foundation work. When we talk about family, as always, we talk about building your first home or a home from the ground up. You start with a great foundation. MCS General Contracting, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. We actually have a bump for the WNBA. We're going to play that bump right now. It's been a while since we played it, so give us a couple of seconds. So again, this segment brought to you by MCS General Contracting. We're talking to Megan Price and, of course, UTSA Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. I'm going to keep saying that all night until October comes and we're actually doing the induction. But Derek's been salivating to talk WNBA, and I'm glad I have you on tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah, not only we're going to get into some questions, I'm going to bring this up real quick. And it's basically the WNBA secured monument, and that is, they secure that 2.24, and it's just going from where I think they said it was quadrupled to what they originally had to now worth $2.2 billion. It's an 11-year deal. Some of the
right
is just massive. Megan, if you want to break this down for us a little bit, how it's going to work, because not only that, we're going to get into the reason why this is happening. You've seen the popularity. I mean, numbers going skyrocketing in attendance. Obviously, tons of people are tuning into the television to watch WNBA basketball. We knew this was coming. How monumental is this for the league itself?
It almost feels like just a sigh of relief. Like, we made it. It's kind of what it feels like. Finally, we will be able to get some good TV slots. People are seeing the value in the league and advertising, because obviously we know what advertising is to this business, and it really makes the league. Being able to get good time slots. And then also this will help our scheduling problems as well. Many times we have games that are on at the exact same time instead of being able to stair step them or tier them in viewership. And a lot of times we've seen it in the past week. We've had 10 o'clock games in the morning. Now, some of those are some summer camp games, and that's something that I love that the ladies do. They've always been involved in social justice work and community projects. So always shout out the WNBA for that. And so a lot of those, that's what those games are, but some of those are, if you want a TV slot, you're going to get on whenever we give you a TV slot. So, and I see a comment there that hopefully better merch. Yeah, man, y'all hit up Fanatics. They drop the ball sometimes. And so I think the more that we put the pressure to them, the same way that pressure was put towards charter flights, that they will start doing better with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Chris Gonzalez, hopefully better merch. It's funny because I've tried shopping for, Houston Comet jerseys, trying to get me a Cynthia Cooper jersey, maybe Cheryl Swoops jersey. I mean, it's hard to find, jerseys. And I know, for guys, it's kind of difficult, for guys, but yeah, better merch now, definitely. And he's also Rudy and Gio. What's up? So Joseph Bernal, he says, yo, now does this count? LOL. Yeah, Joe, it does count the comment. So we're going to play the giveaway here in just a little bit, and you'll kind of make sense as to why Joseph's commenting if it counts. So we'll play that giveaway in just a little bit. We're going to give away an Amazon gift card on Monday, not to exclude the college football 25 giveaway this Friday, plus another giveaway that's announced. So before we get into all that, Derek, the $2.2 billion TV deal for the WNBA, massive, massive deal. This catapults the league to another level, to where we're going to start seeing expansion for the WNBA. I mean, as a former, NBA player yourself, how big is this for the league at $2.2 billion, Derek?
Well, for me, it's really big, being a former NBA player and just being around the game all my life. I love to see the young ladies. As you know, Megan doesn't know, I used to play against Cynthia Cooper during the summers in San Antonio. So she's come down here. Her brother actually went to UTSA after me. So for me, this is big. The charter flights were big, but this is even bigger because now people are catching on. There are already some fans that were watching the WNBA, but as you know, with Caitlin coming out, and I got to give her a credit, man. I mean, we're looking at a female Pistol Pete Maravich in my eyes. And she's had some, some rough times with the turnovers or whatever. But I tell you, watching her play, just like tonight, the game has grown. I'm not going to give her all the credit because these young ladies have been doing it for years and years, the Tarasis, etc. But, man, what she's done for the game, it's amazing. I'm happy that it's coming. And now I want to see one more thing happen. I want to see these salaries start to increase. And I think they've earned it.
Yeah, salary. You have something on the salary increases you want to talk about, Megan? Or
well, I guess I'll just kind of shout out Dawn Staley, what she had to say at her ESPY speech, talking about she does the same job and gets paid less and wins more. So I think continue to talk about it the same way that, I said, continue to talk about Fanatics as well in the merchandise. A couple of years ago, we were talking about merchandise, and Asia said that the team store that was only open on Sundays. How do you expect them to be successful if you're only selling merchandise on Sundays? They don't have a team store in the Las Vegas airport. Every single town that you go to that has an NBA team, they have a team store in the airport. It's guaranteed. So something that they need to put there. But I think Vegas is kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to appreciating their WNBA team. We know that they quickly went under investigation whenever the tourism commission decided to give the ladies each $100,000 a piece. And it's something that the WNBA has tried to do to figure out a way to get these ladies paid more outside of it affecting the salary cap, because as we know, it's a CBA. It's something that's voted on, and it's something that's in place for quite a while. So it's not something that you can say, oh, hey, they got a $2 billion pay TV contract, so the ladies got to immediately make more. Like it takes a little more time, and there is a CBA that's in place. But there will be a new CBA that is going to be voted on, I believe, in 27. So it's coming soon. And obviously giving viewership credit to Caitlin, I think is important, but also the hard work of these ladies before that, because like the Aces were selling out games and moving games to T-Mobile Arena last season before Caitlin was there. Now, does she deserve a ton of praise? Absolutely. You know, like you said, I mean, she is probably the female Pete. And I love that for her. But as far as pay gap, like it's coming. It'll take some time, but it's coming. And I just really appreciated what Dawn had to say at the ESPYs. And the ESPYs as a whole, I felt like was really focused on women's basketball this year. And that was much appreciated. And, you know, we get criticized a lot, but I felt very protected because of what everybody was saying at the ESPYs.
Yeah, real quick to break it down, there's 3 key facts on the $2.2 billion deal. It says the new deal is spanning the next 11 seasons will increase the value of the WNBA media rights from about $60 million per year to $200 million per year. So again, I mean, a massive $140 million per year jump towards the WNBA. The league's current media rights deal will expire after the 2025 season. And the NBA, which owns about 60% of the WNBA, negotiated the WNBA's new deal that was approved by the NBA Board of Governors. So again, the NBA stepping in, doing a lot of the negotiation for the WNBA. It's great to see, you know, the NBA stepping in and helping the WNBA as much as possible, because, you know, they are attributing to the success of the WNBA, but majority of the majority of it goes to the women. I mean, You've seen the increase, and it started actually, I feel like we had the momentum with the WNBA in the beginning. You had, you know, the big 3, which was Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, and Lisa Leslie. You know, you saw Cynthia Cooper, you saw the dominance of the Houston Comets, the New York Liberty with Teresa Witherspoon. I mean, you saw all of these foundation pieces starting to move with the WNBA. One of my all-time favorite players from back then was Tisha Penicheiro. I used to watch her and Yolanda Griffin. So, I mean, I love those players. It obviously went, you know, to Maya Moore, you know, Shamika Holdsclaw. There's a lot of players that have laid the foundation, and this now, Asia Wilson, the Aces, Kelsey Plum. That's kind of when I started to see, okay, the league is starting to rise after the Aces had this success, bringing back Becky Hammond to be the head coach. I mean, now it's just massively bigger than anyone can imagine. Chris Gonzalez talking about add more teams. Well, let me go back to those cities, which teams were Houston, Detroit, San Antonio, Utah. I would like to see them come back. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's vitally important to bring back the teams that have championships. So that means Detroit, because they have 3 championships. That means, bring back the Shock, man. And they are in existence, but they're not a part of the WNBA at the moment. And because as we know, the Shock, the former Shock, is actually Dallas now. And shout out Dallas, y'all got to win tonight. Much needed win. It's tough at the bottom, going through injury problems, but being able to beat Indiana, that's great. And then who's the other team that has a championship? Because we know Houston has 4. Yeah. Houston has 4. Seattle has 4. Minnesota has 4. I'm trying to think. Washington has 1. No, there's one more that is in existence that I would like to bring back. But I think that it is very important to bring back at least the teams that have championships, because you can't tell the history of the WNBA without those teams. Now, we know that the league went through some really horrible money management problems in the late 2009, 2010. And then, so the Comets are still tied for first and haven't been in existence since the 2009. So the first team I would love to see come back is Houston. I do think that the team that they've added in the Bay is going to be super important for the league. That is a popular area for basketball. And as we know, Golden State works well with the women's league. So I feel like that was kind of a no-brainer. Now, and I actually like the team going to Toronto as well. Would love to see the Charlotte Sting back. However, they did not have a championship. So I think most important, bring back those teams that have championships.
Yeah, and you know, securing this kind of deal, this media deal, is going to actually help a whole lot. It's going to expand the league. You're going to see a couple more expansion teams come in, obviously. And not only that, you've got players still coming out of college. Derek always talks about, was it Juju Watkins, Eric, out of USC?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Paige Buchers is supposed to be coming out next year. So you're seeing the explosion from this draft. It's going to continue for the next couple of years with, players coming in. So that's why I remember telling Derek and Gio, it's like, I feel like the torch is already being passed to this new generation, and it's going to be a great mixture. Players like Gianna Taurasi, they're probably at the twilight of their career. So then this new breed, the new WNBA players are going to be coming out, and I think that's where the success goes even higher for the WNBA. When we get back, we're going to do more WNBA talk. We got to get into Derek's got two topics that we're going to talk about. One of them is Rookie of the Year. I see him posting everywhere. We talk about Rookie of the Year all the time with Derek on the WNBA. Also, the MVP talk, because Derek, I saw a post where you said Sabrina's got to start getting some love for WNBA MVP. I'm curious on that. So I want you to save that for when we come back for Rookie of the Year talk, WNBA talk. We are joined by Megan Price of 806 Sports Radio, 1440 AM in Amarillo, host of the Sip Off, Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pod, as well as, Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. I am not in the Hall of Fame just yet, Derek, but I'm working my way into something.
You're on your way, my man.
I'm on my way. I'm not even in the Hall of Fame in my own family yet. That's terrible. So that's really, really bad.
Joanne, you hear your dad.
Hopefully when we get back, I'm in some sort of Hall of Fame after this commercial break. MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea. Also, La Cocina Taco Truck, all sponsors of Sweep the League. We'll be back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting. Building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Hey guys, are you ready for a flavor explosion? Look no further than La Cocina Taco Truck, serving up the best street tacos and quesadillas in New Braunfels. With a 5-star rating and rave reviews, they're not just a taco truck. They are a taste sensation. La Cocina staff is the best in town and pride themselves on making every customer feel like family. Whether you're feeding a crowd or just satisfying your own cravings, they've got you covered because no order is too big or too small for them there. Louis and his staff are all about customer satisfaction and they love their community. Don't worry, San Antonio friends. They're just a short trip away to New Braunfels. So why wait? Come visit La Cocina Taco Truck today and taste the difference for yourself. That's La Cocina Taco Truck, where every bite is a fiesta. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Pops the mastermind, got the team what we need. 5 rings deep, we the dynasty kings. From the Alamo Dome to the banners we bring. Respect the...
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. We're joined by Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, host of Sweep the League, and Megan Price from 806 Sports Radio, 1440 in Amarillo. Shout out to SOTB. STL, again, we are evolving here at Sweep the League. We've introduced STO, SOTB music videos and music out there. It's all custom music. So obviously for all y'all out there, you can find it on Apple Music. We have the Wemby song out. We have 2-0. We have a couple others that we're getting ready to release as well. So again, if you want STL music, head over to Apple Music or Spotify. Again, MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, and La Cocina Taco Truck. Shout out to another partner of ours. We do a lot of work. We're hand in hand with Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs as well. So shout out to everybody out there. Appreciate y'all. And just FYI for those y'all out in the chat out there listening, I didn't make the Hall of Fame yet. My daughter said I was 3 votes shy of making the Compost Hall of Fame. So I got to wait till next year, Derek. I didn't get the votes.
Well, your mom, your wife. Yeah, your mom and your daughter. That's 3. Or if you need extra, here I am.
Well, I needed 3, and Joanne didn't vote for me. She voted for my dad. So I'm again, yeah, I'm gonna have to let him in. Yeah, my time's coming. Hopefully next time it'll come. Nonetheless, man, this next segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting and La Cocina Taco Truck. La Cocina Taco Truck, serving up the best street tacos at Quesadilla in New Braunfels, but hey, it's a short trip away from San Antonio and surrounding areas. Take that drive. Go see Louie and his staff at La Cocina Taco Truck. All sponsors of Sweep the League. Rookie of the Year, Derek, this is your time to shine. This is where I take a step back and I say, you know what, Derek, this is you and this is Megan, Rookie of the Year talk, because I've not changed my stance. It's co-Rookie of the Year, and I can't change it. I will not change it. I'll put it this way. It's 51% Caitlin, 49 Angel right now. It was 50-50, but I'm going 51 Caitlin, 49 Angel. But still, it's real co-Rookie of the Year for me. How is it looking for you right now?
Well, for me, it's been up and down all season. Last week, I had actually moved Angel a little bit ahead, but that was last week. As of now, Caitlin is definitely, for me, the Rookie of the Year. And she's starting to get a little separation in my eyes. As you know, within the last 5, 6, 7 games, she's had double-figure assists multiple times. And I can understand when she's getting the 5.6 turnovers or whatever. So I had a problem, and I'll tell Megan, when she was averaging like 7 assists, me being a former player, 7 assists and 5.6 turnovers, I had a problem with that. But now you see, even like tonight, she had 19 assists. And she's continuing to get better. Her and Aaliyah Boston, the pick and roll is working so well. Alyssa Smith is doing great, and I'm excited about that because her dad is also a UTSA guy. And for me, Caitlin is separating herself, and she's done it, I'll say, within the last 7 to 8 days. So right now, for me, it will be clearly Caitlin.
For me, and I'm actually the opposite, Rudy. I think I don't care who you pick, but pick one. Feels like a participation word when you say co-Rookie of the Year. I didn't like it in the NBA with Grant Hill and Jason Kidd. For me, it was Grant Hill. That's just my personal opinion on it. But I think it goes 2 ways. If you like defense, you're probably going to vote for Angel. If you love that fast pace and quick movement offense, you're going to vote Caitlin. And I think Caitlin has started to separate herself. I agree with that, Derek, that she has started to separate herself a little bit, but they both have liabilities. So Angel is a liability when it comes to shooting. We know that even when when she's in the lane, her layups look a little rough. She's coming from her hip. And I think whenever she has an off season, she has the right coach to get her to put in some work during the off season. Also, she has enough money to not have to go work overseas. And so I think that we're going to see a step forward for Angel, but we're also going to see a step forward for Caitlin as well. My opinion, I'm a preference on defense. I prefer 3-and-D type of players. And so Angel has to work on her shooting, but Caitlin's got to work on her defense too. So, and they both need a mid-range, to be honest, both of them. Or maybe not need, but it would add a lot of spice to their game. So, there's work to be done on both sides, and I like both, but I'm leaning towards defense, so I'm going to say Angel.
Rudy, can I tell Megan why I've moved Caitlin ahead?
Go for it, bro.
Well, he knows I'm on Facebook a lot, Megan, and I've been hitting Caitlin all year about the defense. Man, when whoever she's guarding, when they throw it into the post, she completely turns her back on the person she's defending.
Right.
And to me, it made it look like she was trying to pad her rebounds. because she was running in that paint. But I watched her the last week or so as the team has continued to gel. Even tonight, she's played a lot harder on defense. And as you see, some of her blocks and steals are not just coming from, say, happenstance. Someone taps the ball and she grabs it. She's actually trying to defend. She's putting in the effort now. And that's all I've been asking for all year. And I've seen her get better with that within the last 7 to 10 days. And that's why I mainly gave her the edge.
I don't disagree with that. That, you know, Steph, I mean, she's obviously, they compare her to Steph all the time, her shooting. But Steph is a guy that does play defense. He's not going to be an elite defender, and I don't expect Caitlin to be an elite defender either. But just seeing effort changes things for me. When you're getting subbed out on defensive plays, you're a liability. And so for her to at least give effort, I think that's great.
So that's why she changed that Phoenix game.
Yeah,
you and I agree. When they took her out up 3 points at the end, ever since then, I think that, because to see her get taken out like that first, I know it was surprising to a lot of people. But me being a basketball person, you being a basketball person, you know it was strictly because of defense. They did not want to give up a 3-pointer, and they sat her down. I think that was a wake-up call for her.
Agree. I will say that I think Angel's in a more preferable situation when it comes to coaching. She has a coach that, backs her no matter what. And I think that that's incredibly important. I would like to see Caitlin adopt the same attitude that I see out of Angel as far as holding her teammates up. Like when she sees her teammates struggle, you see Angel talk to them. She's not negative. She's not throwing her hands up like, dang, what are you doing? No, you see Angel be very positive towards her teammates. And I would love to see Caitlin do that as well, because I mean, it's her team, it's her league. So, I want to see her be more positive towards her teammates.
Coach Gio would be very proud of you, Megan, because you put me on the spot. I said you need to pick one person.
Pick one. I don't care who you pick, but pick one.
Oh golly. Can I say Cameron Brink? Just to be.
I agree. I was leaning towards Cam before the injury as well.
Before the injury, I actually loved Cameron Brink.
So both of you had Cameron Brink at the beginning of the season.
I did.
So did I, and I just think that she's a multifaceted player. She's gonna only get. It was just sad to see her get hurt, and I can't wait that she comes back. I think she was on to something special, and her and Rakia Jackson, I think we're gonna play really well together. And I had her as my favorite going into the season as well.
Yeah, and that's what shows about the WNBA. I mean, it's in good hands right now with a lot of these players. But if I have to pick one, I mean, obviously, I'm probably gonna go with Caitlin right now. I mean, she's balling out, man. And I'm not going to go with the typical guys that are on, the national media saying, well, we got to wait till, who has the better record. This is going to be a case of better record. No, I mean, it's obvious right now who the better player is. And for me, it is Caitlin Clark overall. So, like I said, right now it's 51% Caitlin, 49 Angel. For all we know, Angel could just go dominant, be dominant later on. And there you go. It goes back to Angel Reese being on top. But nonetheless, no matter what, the way we look at it, the rookie class, they're playing fantastic. They're playing really good this year. I'm excited. A lot of people are excited for the WNBA rookie class. And now we're going to go to the vets here. We're going to go to the veterans, because here I am scratching my head like, wait a minute. So I know Asia Wilson's MVP. Like, she's number one. She's number one in points. She leads the league in rebounds, leads them in blocks. She's top 5 in steals. I mean, that screams a 3-letter word for me. But then Derek says, hold your horses. Sabrina's got to be in there. Where does the Sabrina talk to me? I'm not arguing with you or disagreeing, but I need to be convinced that Sabrina needs to be in that conversation with Asia leading 3 categories and top 5 in 1.
Well, Rookie of the Year is about what you do as an individual. MVP is about what you do for your team. Angel started off, to me, as a unanimous. I mean, Asia, for me at first, was a unanimous MVP. But, of course, they hit a little spell where they went through some losses. Chelsea Gray was out. And if you look at the Liberty, 21-4, Rudy.
I know. And that's
all about what have you done for me lately. If you look at them right now, they're 9-1. In the last 10, they're playing without last year's MVP, Breanna Stewart.
Yeah.
So Jonquel Jones and the group is playing well. But who is the key right now who is the conductor of that team? And that would be Sabrina. And you watched her just the other night. She had 32 and 6 rebounds and 5 assists. I just think she's got to be in the conversation. I'm not saying she's the MVP, but you got to put her in the conversation. And as the season winds down, they continue to win. It's going to be hard to just ignore her.
Yeah, I get it. Real quick, let me get this, Megan, real quick. If you want to call in, guys, our call-in number is 830-499-1852. You want to drop some WNBA comments, questions, again, 830-499-1852. You can talk to Megan, Derek. You don't want to talk to me. I'm terrible. So just give us a call. But, yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that's what I wanted to get at on the MVP before I shoot it over to Megan, because that was the only point that hit my mind, Derek, was the record. And now Vegas doesn't have the dominant record that they have had in past, and New York is the best team in the league. I was like, that's got to be the main focus as to why she's got to be MVP. But then you drop in the Breanna Stewart mention as well. So then that kind of makes it a little bit more tasty for me to look at Sabrina now. Even though personally, I still have Asia. I mean, I get where you're coming from with Sabrina. Megan, what do you got for us?
I don't mind her being in the conversation, but I'm leaning more towards maybe MIP for Sabrina. She probably doesn't have the numbers for it because we all know that she can shoot. But I like the defensive effort that I've seen out of Sabrina this year. This is something that, we were just talking about with Caitlin. And if Caitlin is able to do that with her game as well, just effort. I don't expect you to be an elite defender, but effort. That's all I need from you. And we're seeing that from Sabrina this year. So I actually don't mind her being in the conversation. But if I'm going to pick anybody other than Asia, because for me, it's pretty clear it's Asia. All the injuries that they've had on Vegas, they don't make it where they're at right now without Asia. And so I do like that definition because who you are to your team, that's the definition, where Rookie of the Year is more of an individual award. Last year, it probably, if we're going off that definition, it probably should have been AT, because of what they did with all the injuries and her playing out of her position. Yeah. But I don't think it's anybody but Asia. But if I'm going to pick somebody other than Asia, I'm going to pick Fee. MVP Fee is what I've been calling her all season long. They look pitiful without her. And so that's my pick. If it's not Asia, it's Fee.
Can I go to the NBA really quick?
Go for it, man.
I'm just going to bring up the memories. There's a guy named Kobe Bryant, rest in peace.
Yeah,
was a fantastic player all his career, right? And then I'm gonna bring in the guy who beat him out twice for the MVP by the name of Steve Nash.
Right. Yeah.
At no point was Steve Nash a better player than Kobe, but it's what Steve brought to the table as far as setting the plate for Amari Stoudemire and all those guys. That's what I'm saying about Sabrina. If you look at Jonquel Jones, who I call a bruiser and enforcer and all that, Sabrina is keeping the team afloat, and she's doing it. They're continually to ascend at the right time. And remember what I said. I didn't say I have her as the MVP. I said, but she has to be in the running with a Nafisha Collier, Alyssa Clark. There are 4 or 5 that are going to be in the running. Caitlin is going to be in there as well. So I cannot put those other ones in there and leave out the lady that has the best team currently in the entire league, and they're doing it without last season's MVP.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never thought I would disagree on this because I say there's got to be a reason behind it. And I had a feeling record was the main reason behind it. And again, like you said, when I saw it, like Sabrina and the MVP talk, what is he talking about? Like, I know I'm not looking at it wrong. And that's why I was like, I got to ask him what's going on with that. And like always, you and Gio are just putting me in my place. I'm just the mouth of the South over here. So, I mean, I shoot from the hip sometimes, but nonetheless, I mean, I think it's going to probably Asia. I mean, unless the Liberty just run away with the best record in the league, you kind of have to give Sabrina that love. I mean, you're right. She's doing it right now. She's keeping the Liberty at the best record in the league right now. I'm not going to be mad about it if it happens. All I'm going to say is that I'm going to be happy with this entire season because from start to finish, it's going to be a great season regardless, man. I mean, I'm just excited about everything here. Even all the headaches, and I call them headaches because people call it a black eye on the league. People say, it was a bad luck, stuff like that. When you had the Kennedy Carter incident, Angel Reese and all that was so with Caitlin Clark, all that's kind of blown over, smoothed over and all that. I think it was made more than what it was actually supposed to be. I mean, basketball is a physical sport. I mean, it's a physical sport. Come on, even at
it was a hip check, y'all. Watch an NBA game, you're gonna see it all game long.
Yeah,
I would like to see Caitlin D up against when those moments happen. D up, fight back.
Clark and Clark, Rudy, who who did you mention? Who did the move on Caitlin gets bumped, Caitlin Clark, and then who's the one that pulled down Angel Reese?
Alyssa Thomas.
Alyssa Clark and Clark in the house.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a fun season, and that was actually where everybody thought, oh my God, this is terrible. Look, man, go back to the 80s and 90s, Derek.
It's their first year watching. You can tell because it's not a season until DT gets ejected at least twice. It's a physical game. Candace Parker's been thrown out of games for brawls too, y'all. So you can just tell people who haven't been watching very long.
I was going to say, back in Detroit, they had that brawl.
Megan, I got a quick question for you before Rudy starts. Don't you think the way we're headed, it's going to be a little scary next year because Caitlin's only going to get stronger and she's going to continue?
I think that we're actually seeing like Aaliyah Boston come into her own as well. I think Vic Schaefer really gave us the blueprint of when your point guard is either out or not confident in themselves in that moment. He had Madison Booker come up for Texas when Rory Harmon got hurt, and he had her run the offense as a point forward. And I think you can do that with Aaliyah Boston there in Indiana as well. And have her not necessarily, maybe co-share the duties of running the offense. And it seems like they're starting to figure that out. The best move that they could have done was bench Erica Wheeler. And while I know she's a walking bucket, she plays selfishly. Her and Kelsey Mitchell both. When they're both in that starting position, they play very selfishly, and it's not up to benefit to them. Yeah, they're going to put up 20 to 25 points apiece, but they're not going to win those ball games. And Aaliyah Boston was not touching the ball. Caitlin Clark was not touching the ball as much as she needed to. And we all knew what the pick and roll situation was going to look like when we knew that Indiana was getting the number one pick. We were all salivating, waiting, because that pick and roll between Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark was going to be a beautiful thing. And we didn't see it in the first part of the first month of the season, and now they're kind of starting to figure that out. Erica Wheeler's coming off the bench, and that's the right move. And anytime Kelsey starts playing selfishly, I think you put that out there too. Like, you can go to the bench with Erica if you want. Like
today, she only had 6 or 8 points, but exactly. But you're right, because sometimes her scoring has been dominating the team, but in a negative way. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't seem to understand about basketball. It's not always about you scoring. It's about how you're scoring. Is it affecting the team in a positive way or a negative way? So Christy Sides seems to have figured that out, and right now she's making all the right moves.
Exactly.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, so Tim Gonzalez, real quick, before we go to commercial break, Tim Gonzalez had a comment, and I'll bring this up right now. He was asking Megan. I'm going to ask both Megan and Derek on that. Who's the most underrated WNBA player of all time? Wow. Whichever one wants to go first, because I don't want to answer this right now. You guys are taking over this show when it comes to that.
Underrated.
The most underrated. Now, I know a player from back in the day. I'll just say I know a player from back in the day that was vital, that was very important. And a lot of people, unless you really followed the league, you didn't know about her really. But she was a real vital piece to a lot of to the team itself, and that was Kim Perrott. For me back.
I was going to say her. I have somebody else in mind too, but I was going to say Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. Kim Perrott was, rest in peace, Kim. When you're talking about an important piece to a team, like for you Spurs people out there, like the Manu Ginobili, the glue to the team that just makes it all turn. Kim Perrott is one. If you want to look up, highlights, look up Kim Perrott. That's my most underrated.
Sabrina Ionescu is okay.
What did I say?
Sabrina getting all the awards.
Hey, Rudy, you really got me a little emotional, man. I think both of you and Megan, that was a excellent pick, man, to remind people. Kim Perrott, wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you guys take the rest before we go to commercial break. So, Megan, Derek, whoever wants to jump in, give me your most underrated.
I'm actually going to say somebody that when she was incredibly important to the Spurs, she's a champion finally there in Vegas, but she never won a championship as a player, and that's Becky Hammon. Now, she is a part of the 25-year anniversary team, so I don't think that she's completely underrated, but she played for New York for a long time, never won a championship there. New York has never won a championship. She came to San Antonio, got injured, never won a championship. So she went to the Spurs after 14, so she didn't win that championship with them either. So to finally get championships there in Vegas, I felt like she was probably very underrated. She's a 5'6" guard that went undrafted and just would not go away. So I love me some Becky Hammon.
Becky Hammon. Who you got, Derek?
Mine is kind of weird because she is known, but to me, she's not. She doesn't get the notoriety that she deserves as like a top 5 player all time. And for me, I told you that's Lauren Jackson.
Oh, I love that.
We don't hear them talking about Lauren today. I just think she was a phenomenal player at the top of the totem pole. So whoever you put as the best, Lauren's right there with them. So for me, it'd be Lauren Jackson. And
she's still playing. Like, we're about to see her play in the Olympics. I was really nervous with the BG injury because Lauren has been able to explore some different meds to help her with pain management. And I don't want to say she looks like the Lauren Jackson of old, but we needed some size. And if we weren't going to have BG, I was really concerned because, Lauren Jackson is there and still balling.
Still balling. Lauren Jackson. Before we go to commercial break, I want to drop one more. And another player that I would probably say didn't get a whole lot of love, but was a pretty damn good player was Jennifer Azzi. She played for the Silver Stars as well, for Utah as well. That's another player that I've always like, man, I admire her game so much, but didn't get the love that she deserved. We're talking WNBA. It's WNBA Wednesday. We're here with Megan Price, 806 Sports Radio, 1440 AM in Amarillo. Again, host of the Sip Off, Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pod, and also UTSA Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. That's not going to get old, dude. That's not going to get old. I introduced that tonight. We started it tonight. And I'm going to keep saying that. And then you have little old me, Rudy Campos Jr. from Sweet the League. So till we come back, we'll talk more some WNBA when we get back. Maybe a little bit of Spurs talk. I want to get Derek's take on the Spurs basically finalizing their roster here. We'll get Megan's take as well. This is Sweet the League. We'll be back. Can you imagine a world where nature meets wellness? Where every sip you take nourishes your body and soul. Introducing Special Leaf Tea, a line of 100% natural, ready-to-drink iced teas crafted to boost your immunity and energy. With 4 unique flavors to choose from, as in hibiscus blueberry, tangerine ginger, pomegranate blueberry, or the original, you can indulge in the perfect blend of taste and nutrition. Their teas are carefully crafted with 2 times the antioxidants and no added sugar. They're known to help with blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, weight management, and even provide natural energy without caffeine. Join the movement towards natural wellness. Order now at www.specialleaf.com and start sipping your way to a healthier, happier you. Special Leaf Tea. Nature in every sip. Proud sponsors of Sweet the League. Spurs fans, are you ready to stay ahead of the game of the San Antonio Spurs with the best coverage in the business? Tune in to Locked On Spurs, the daily podcast that brings you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and all the latest news and updates for your silver and black. Join Jeff Garcia, the most informative and entertaining host in the game, as he breaks down all Spurs news and notes, interviews the biggest names, and keeps you locked into all things Spurs. From Monday to Friday, get ready to start your day with the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out on the expert opinions, the hot takes, and the can't-miss guests. Make sure you're locked in with Locked On Spurs, Subscribe to their YouTube channel now and stay ahead of the game all season long. Locked On Spurs. It's the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out.
Shemaya, you did it.
Wemby, the king is crowned. Cindy, Wemby, king is crowned. Future of the league, and he's wearing a crown. We playing justice, playing checkers, no contest. Wemby's got the game on lock, and he's making a statement. I'm talking about Wemby, the next in line. Future of the league, and he's shining fine.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Hall of
It's
Famer.
my first time hearing it. I love it.
Really?
It's Wimpy time.
Yeah, the Wimby song is out, The Crown. It's on Apple
love that.
Music. That was actually our first release at STL and SOTB. So, yeah, first release. You can go, guys can go get it at Apple Music and Spotify. Pretty much wherever music's available, you can go download it. That is the Wemby song, first one issued by STL and SOTB. We actually got a phone call coming in here. So, real quick, let me get to the MCS General Contracting Special Leaf Tea and La Cocina Taco Truck. Let me take this phone call here. Caller, you are on the air with us. What do you got?
What's up, Rudy?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
All right, you know it is. Puro Blue Devils, man.
I know the Tar Heels suck. Jeez, man.
Yes,
I
yes.
can't go a day without having that happen on the show. What's going on, Tim? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, what's going on, Derek? Hi, Megan.
Hey.
I was gonna ask you a question. I know, I think yesterday or the day before, Rudy, you were saying about Cynthia Cooper. I think that was the girl. I wanted to ask Megan, who was her WNBA player that she started falling in love with, that got into WNBA basketball? Who was that one player? I can give you mine. Mine was Jeanette Arcane. I was a huge Jeanette Arcane fan back in the day with the comics.
Houston Comics.
Okay.
And
I like that. I like that.
That was the player that I fell in love watching, that started into WNBA.
Okay.
And you know, Rudy, those days, those Houston and LA Sparks rivalries, you know how those were physical.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and and I think to me she was the one that was a key to the championships for those 4 titles.
Yeah.
I think she was a part of it. So I mean that was who my player I used to grew up watching. And I wanted to ask Megan, who was that WNBA player that she used to watch? She got into WNBA.
Awesome. Go for it, baby.
All right. And also Derek. I don't know which player Derek was the one that he liked. So, but that's my question for tonight.
Cool.
So thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the call, Tim. Thanks for joining us tonight, man. All right, Megan, Derek, y'all are on the hot seat. The WNBA player, or basically female basketball player that got you into the game, man.
So I have 2 actually, because as we know, there was a little bit of a lull there in the quality of basketball there for a while. A lot of the teams got mismanaged money wise, and just it seemed as a whole, women's basketball kind of hit a lull, even in the NCAA. So pre Breonna Stewart in the WNBA league, I would say Cheryl Swoops. She's from Brownfield. I was living in Wolworth at the time, which is a little town right outside of Lubbock, as she won the championship there in Lubbock at Texas Tech, and then the 96 Olympics, obviously. Cheryl was it for me. She was the reason that we're even able to play professional ball as a young girl. So that was it. But then kind of getting back into basketball, it was Della Dawn. That's the best shooter we've ever seen until Caitlin gets to taking over the records, which she will. I'm sure she will. But Della Dawn is the only woman that's in the 50-40-90 club. And Washington, you will reap what you sow until you let her go and let her get to go out in her own way.
Yeah, Elena Della Don, man. I am a massive Elena Della Don.
Della Don, Lauren Jackson. Ooh, wee.
When I saw Elena play in college, the first person to come to mind was Kevin Durant. I mean, it's like,
okay, I like that.
You cannot tell me her game does not, is similar to Kevin Durant. I mean, that's the first person I thought of, like, holy cow, can she shoot? She can score. She's just amazing type of player. And you're right. I see her on Instagram. I've actually written to her, and I'm trying to get her on the show because I want to ask her that one question.
She's
Like,
so nice.
yes,
She's somebody that every time I talk to her, she remembers who I am. That's not something that you get a lot with media. She's
yeah,
so nice to me. She's so personable. And she talks a lot about other things that, like, her sister has CP really bad. That's why things ended up not working out for her in UConn. So she ended up going and playing with Delaware so she could be at home. Y'all, when she won her championship there in Washington, she did that with 2 herniated discs. She also has residuals from Lyme disease that she got in high school. So like every day is a battle for her. And she just leaves it all out on the court. She's given everything that she is to this game. And she's still just such a humble, nice person. So I bet reach out to her, man. I bet she will.
I want to, because I want to ask her, like, do you really want to come back to ball? I see all the fun you're having, being retired and all, because she's having a blast right now. Derek, female basketball players, man. Now you're probably going to drop, a lot of older players. I know that.
I'm not going to drop a lot, but it's funny you say that because the woman that actually got me involved in watching women's basketball was a girl, I'll say a young lady in high school in Detroit. And her goddaughter is playing right now with the LA Sparks, Rakia Jackson. Her godmother's name is Deborah Walker. And Deborah went to the school of the movie Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
They showed the Mumford jacket. That's where she went to school. But for the pros, it would be for me, and it's not even WNBA. It would be Nancy Lieberman at the time. Though now she's Nancy Lieberman Klein. At the time, I played with Nancy in the United States Basketball League. It was myself and Michael Ray Richardson. And the coach at that time was Dean Meminger, rest in peace, who used to play for the Knicks during their championship days. So for me, it'd be Nancy Lieberman. And then the last one would, of course, would be Cheryl Miller. I got to meet her when I was a freshman in college at UTSA. And we went out and played against the USC men. And I got to meet Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Miller, and of course the McGee sisters. So for me, it would be Cheryl Miller without a doubt.
Yeah, and I love the comment by Chris Gonzalez, Eric Gordon, because if y'all remember from Martin, the episode of Martin when Team USA was on there, and he had Eric Gordon on there. I love that.
Don Staley's, Swoops. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just so much history in the WNBA. It's amazing because if you're a fan of basketball, you should know a lot of the female basketball players, especially when the WNBA was brought in. Like we mentioned a couple already. The big 3 were Lobo, Swoops, and Lisa Leslie. Cynthia Cooper had her coming out party. For those that didn't know her, you knew about Cynthia Cooper. That was Michael Jordan of the WNBA to start, the WNBA. The whole foundation was that. Tina Thompson is another one.
Thank you, Rudy. You keep talking about big 3. The big 3 is Tina Thompson,
Swoops,
Cynthia Cooper, and Swoops. That's your original big 3.
Wait a minute. I'm saying big 3 as in the 3 women that they started the WNBA with.
Right. The We Got Next campaign.
Yeah.
But I had to go with those 4 championships. I'm like, man, and they down here in Texas.
I know.
I think you got to credit Coop too, because everybody talks about Manu being the one that brought the Euro step. And I want to say, I feel like Cynthia was doing it before Manu. Manu didn't get here until 2001. Cynthia Cooper brought it back because we all know when she started playing in the WNBA was the tail end of her career. So she had been playing overseas for a really long time. And I kind of feel like Cynthia is the one that brought the Euro step to the United States.
She is.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Elgin Baylor originally, but for this era,
right. Manu perfected it. Don't get me wrong, because that's my favorite spur of all too.
No argument here. I watched her doing it in the gym playing against a bunch of guys. So I agree, Cynthia Cooper.
I love Manu Ginobili. And it's weird because we kind of talk a little smack about him every now and then, and I have no disrespect to Manu. I love him, but I've always said that Sarunas Marciulionis was Manu before Manu was in the NBA.
Okay.
Everything I saw Manu do, I'm sitting back like, I've seen that before. I've seen that behind the back lay. I've seen that before. That was Sarunas for me way back then. But that's a whole nother subject of who we can bring in. And who was now the Euro step. Yeah, Manu perfected the Euro step. But
Right.
You know, seeing players do it before him, no doubt about it. That's for sure. Great call from Tim. Appreciate the phone call.
Yeah.
Bringing up memories left and right. Anything on the as far as the WNBA goes? Like I mentioned earlier, we'll do this last segment here. Then we'll head into some NBA talk here. But the future that we're seeing, you know, Paige Buchers, Juju Watkins, Ariana Robertson is another one that's got everybody eyes on. She's going to Duke for her freshman year. This league is not only getting better, it's evolving to that next tier of major sports where, you know, of course, you've got NBA, NFL, you've got MLB. Those are the three big ones. I mean, you can throw soccer in there as well, but the WNBA is starting to get that steam. How is there really no end in sight for the type of players coming out from here on out is the question I want to get to. Like I said, Buchers, Watkins, you know, Robertson, you've got tons of girls coming out still in the next few years draft wise. There's no stop to this momentum that we can see where we had that little break in the WNBA where it was like, okay, we have good players, we have dominant players, but it wasn't popular. Has that kind of already come to an end?
I feel like yes. I feel like we're bridging that gap. Now, we've always heard about the difference between playing March Madness and you had sold out arenas, 40 and 50,000 people, and then you come play in the W and, you know, they're not selling out and you're playing in front of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 fans. And that's why a lot of those teams went under. I think that they're bridging that gap, though. And we will see that. And I think we will also see the ladies that are going to transition to not having to travel overseas. Obviously, the season is not as long as the men's NBA, so they'll still probably be playing in a supplemental league. But we've also seen the league that Stewie and Nafisa Collier are coming out with. Athletes Unlimited is very popular too. So I think we're going to see the ladies not have to travel overseas as much. And maybe they will actually get a break because the WNBA had to implement some rules this year that if you weren't with the team or you were going to play for your national team and you were an international player, you had to choose this year. Like you couldn't come play your WNBA season and also play for your national team. So we see players like Emma Mieseman, who's playing with Belgium right now, and she's not going to play. She foregone her WNBA season. And then in the first week of the season, a lot of times we don't see players with their team because they're still overseas in Turkey and in Russia and all these other countries because they're playing their finals in their Euro leagues. And so I think we're going to see that transitions a little bit and be more focused here in the United States.
Perfect answer right there. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear because I do want to see the continued success as a father to a little girl who's getting into basketball now, and I'm trying to coach her. Every day she's asking, "Look, I know you can coach, Dad, but I think Derek's a better coach." I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to get Derek to coach you, so just wink, wink, Derek." She doesn't want to listen to me, obviously, but you know, as a girl dad, I want to see her have every opportunity possible in sports and trying to get her into, you know, WNBA's. It's still a league that's going to be tough to get into, but to get the role models in, you know, for WNBA and, you know, showing her the ropes and all that stuff. I want to see continued success for WNBA basketball. So that's what I wanted to leave off on the WNBA. For those of y'all that are listening, we got 85 strong on the stream right now. Appreciate you joining us. Do the research. It's simple. Do the research. There's videos out there. We're talking Houston Comets. You're like, who was Tina? Who was Tina Thompson? Just go do the research.
Oh man,
you can find.
You got to get your life if you don't know who Tina Thompson is.
Yeah, I mean, you can find it everywhere. You can find us everywhere. Like Derek says, you got to do the research.
Ruth Riley. We can go on and on. Learn who some of these role players are as well.
Yeah, Tim. Okay, real quick before we move on, Tim wants to know, Megan, your top 5 WNBA all time. I think he asked me.
Oh my gosh, put me on the spot.
You gotta put you on the spot here.
Who? I mean, I got Cheryl up there. DT, of course. When I say Cheryl, I mean Swoops. She's my GOAT just because, like I said, being from that same area, she really made it possible for the Pro League to even be fathomed. So Cheryl, DT, Sue. All time, this is so tough. I think you got to put Cynthia in there as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw one out there. Cheryl Ford. I love me some Cheryl Ford.
Yeah.
Karl Malone's daughter, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
We don't claim him.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. Believe me. Hey, Megan, it's
But
funny.
I think Asia. I think Asia's on her way there though. Like she goes, if she hits a three-peat, I think she's in there.
I'm glad you said what you said about Carl because I played against him in college. I played against him in the NBA, and I played against him in the summer. And I'm not gonna get into his personal stuff, but I promise you, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. No, we don't claim him.
He knows I'm not a big fan.
Right.
Can we show some love for Margot Diedick as well? Another name that
I like. That's a good one too.
Rudy, I met her in the mall here at North Star.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, remember where did she play? Remember she was here?
In San Antonio.
Yeah, I met her in the mall at North Star. Really, really nice lady.
Yeah, I've met her one time at a game when we went to go watch the Silver Stars play. I met her, and that was funny because I was there to meet one person, and that was Tisha, and I got her autograph. I got a picture. This is back when we had the throwaway cameras for you kids that don't have, they have the cell phones and cameras. We didn't have that back then.
Right.
My mom had to wind the camera and take the picture with the poof and all that stuff. So that shows you how long ago I've been around. But yeah, I mean, Margot Diedick, there's a lot of players out there that you.
And I can't believe I didn't say this, but Candace has got to be in the top 5 too, probably.
Yeah, Candace Parker. I mean, another
the only rookie of the year to get MVP. So I think you got to throw her in there somewhere too.
Yeah, there's a ton of WNBA players, and there's a lot that we failed to mention. Maya Moore is probably another one you can need. Tamika Catchings is never mentioned first, but she's probably top 5, for a lot of people with Tamika Catchings. So, I mean, there's just tons. Do the research. You got to do the research. That's
Megan, do you remember Ruthie Bolden Holyfield?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know Ruthie. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm talking about shooting that ball. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for a fact. And I saw a lot of pushback whenever Catch got her Hall of Fame because there were a lot of people that were saying her NBA comparable was Kobe, and I absolutely agree with that. And there was a lot of people that said that was a disrespect to Kobe. Go look at her accolades and tell me that there's not somebody that was that good on both ends of the court. It was Catch.
Yeah, for sure. Ruthie Bolden Holyfield. We're going to get into some NBA talk real quick here. Quick Spurs news and notes. Get Derek and Megan's opinions on it real quick here. All right, last segment of the night is brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, and La Cocina Taco Truck, all great sponsors of Sweep the League. Shout out to Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs. The Spurs segment is for you also. So basically yesterday, the Spurs decided we're going to fill out the roster. We're going to sign Mamu. We're going to sign Charles Bassey. We're closing it out. Unless they make a trade, I don't really see them adding anybody else to this roster. So having a night to think about it, I still had them around the 30-win mark. I mean, I know it's low. Vegas has them at 36. I've got them at 30 right now. Derek, I'm gonna crack the door open and say 31, maybe 32 on a great season. But with this roster intact, I know Chris Paul helps teams win. But I mean, when he helps them win, it's not by leaps and bounds a lot of times. It's a few games here and there. As we speak for Spurs fans wanting to know, is Vegas right on 36, or do you have them higher or lower on that, Derek?
Well, they won 22 without Chris. I think he's good for 6 games.
Yeah.
I'm going to say between 28 and 30. With this current roster, they're just not deep enough to contend with these teams, even the teams that are going to be play-in teams. You're looking at the Houston Rockets and all these teams are continuing to get better. The Dallas Mavericks, the Pelicans, on and on and on. Yeah. I got to give them 30 wins maximum. And that's still an improvement from last year. That's a 25%, basically almost 25% improvement, but 30 wins, 30 and 52.
Yeah, I've got them at 30. And, I remember I texted Megan and be like, hey, the show tonight, this is what we can expect. And I brought up the Spurs, and she sent me the angry emoji, like, oh my God, the Spurs. I got stuff to say about the Spurs. So
I do.
Megan, what do you got on the Spurs? What is your take on the Spurs right now?
Okay. And I was really, I didn't know what to say about the Chris Paul acquisition. While I think he has a ton of knowledge, we have the most knowledgeable guy in the league coaching us. So I don't know that we need somebody that is more knowledgeable. I was hoping that we would go after a veteran star point guard, and Chris Paul is not that anymore. This is probably his last year in the league. That's why it's a 1-year deal. And after that, after this year, if he doesn't retire, it's maybe 1 more year, and that's it. Like he's hit the cliff. He was never scoring point guard, but even his assists have gone down. I do think he's got an incredible mind for the game. I do think that I would love to see him on the sidelines coaching somewhere, like work his way up into a head coaching position. I think he's the only reason that Billy Donovan got a Coach of the Year nomination, because Billy Donovan is not a head coach in the NBA, in my opinion, or shouldn't be. And so I think Chris Paul was absolutely the reason behind that there in OKC. I do think that Chris Paul can maybe give some knowledge to Trey Jones, but I still feel like Trey is probably your sixth man. I want to see us have a star point guard. And so I would have liked to have seen them. This is where my frustrations come in. When we don't sign free agents, we don't do it. And so I had no anticipations, but I had hoped that maybe DeJounte would come back. Obviously, Trey Young was also linked to San Antonio. Cade Cunningham was linked to San Antonio. I would have liked to have picked up Cade possibly. I was not on board for Trey Young. He's not a system guy. And if you don't play system ball, then you're not going to fit in there in San Antonio. So I just didn't think it would be a good fit. I wanted to see somebody better next to Wemby. That's my only gripe between that. So when it comes to free agency or the trade deadline, we usually don't do a thing. Now, signing Mamu to a 1-year deal, I wish we would have signed him to a 2-year deal. I think he looks really great next to Wemby. And if we were to do anything, and for me to be pleasantly surprised, that would be to move on from Keldon. As much as I like the guy, as much as I think he's a really nice person, he looks like a fish out of water a lot of times. We had him at the 4 there for a while, purely off of need. That was not him playing not well. That was just off of us needing him, but he's too small for the 4. So when we got him back to the 3, he still looked like a fish out of water. So he looks lost a lot of times. And I think that he still has a lot of value. So I would like for us to move on from him.
There you go, man. Breaking it down and letting out her frustrations, Derek, as someone that follows the Spurs and covers them. So, I think the whole Trae Young thing, I was never a big fan of it. Honestly, even the DeJounte thing, I wasn't a real big fan of it. I've been saying for a while, 2025 and 2026, that's the season that this whole thing turns. The summer of 2025 is huge with all the free agents that are going to be other name free agents coming out. And then you've got the draft, the 2025 draft. So I'm going to let you in on a secret. Megan, if you haven't really listened to the show, Derek is screaming from the top of his lungs about a guy in 2025 that's going to probably make you happy to know that we've got a point guard on the way. Derek, you can say I let you say it all the time because it's going to.
I'll say it again. De'Aaron Fox will be a San Antonio Spur in 2025-26.
Yeah, helps on the way. That's all we can say is helps on the way.
I sure hope so. We just never make splashes when it comes to free agency. Like so much so that is Chris Paul the biggest free agent that we've ever signed in the last year of his career? Is that the biggest free agent we've ever signed?
Name-wise, yeah, I think LaMarcus has to be up there as a guy that was signed.
Okay, I forget about him because his play in San Antonio.
Well, you said name-wise, so LaMarcus is not in the same tier.
That's why I said
name-wise, I think it's Chris Paul, and we're getting him in his last year, and so that's the biggest free. Steven Jackson, did we get him through trade? Did we get him through free agency?
I think it was Steven Jackson. I think it was trade, if I'm not mistaken, and. I think I can go this way. Yeah. This is what Gio gets pissed off every time I say it because he's like, oh, we've never had. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Are we talking? We've never been able to sign anybody in their prime, or we have never been able to sign a name because Dominique Wilkins was a Spur, Tracy McGrady was a Spur. Now Chris Paul is a Spur. So that's what I'm saying. We're getting them at the end of their careers. Glenn Robinson was a Spur. So I get what you're saying, but as far as big name free agent, I like the Chris Paul move, but again, it's a 1-year deal, and I think it's great because he's looking at the fact of, okay, I'm here for a year, and two things can happen. He finishes the year, they maybe go get a De'Aaron Fox. He's like, you know what, this team has a good shot at winning. I can come back for another year. Or what it does is what I love the best is come trade deadline for this season. If you have a contender that needs that point guard to get you to the next level or to that championship level, because maybe your point guard went out or you're just in desperate need of one going into the playoffs, he's got the perfect contract at a 1-year deal at $11 million, which is going to fit everybody's cap. And it's Chris Paul. I mean, who doesn't want Chris Paul going into the playoffs so the Spurs can actually get?
Man, send us Darius Garland.
I would have liked to have had Darius Garland too, or even. I mean, I was kind of on the fence about Donovan Mitchell, but the De'Aaron Fox, I love that.
They didn't take. That's why they didn't take Darius Garland, Megan, because they know what's going to be happening next year. De'Aaron's in the house.
Yeah,
I hope so. I'm a huge fan of De'Aaron Fox. I knew that they had to split up Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox because they're the both same level of player, and they were sharing minutes and sharing stats. So, I mean, you had to split it up. You had to pay somebody, and I think they're both probably in better positions. I don't know if De'Aaron wants to leave Sacramento, though.
He loves San Antonio, man.
Okay, I love hearing that. I'm hopeful.
He loves San Antonio. I hope everybody.
Well, I'm very hopeful now. I sure hope that's the case.
You know, the DeMar DeRozan thing, you know, the trade to have DeMar there, and people don't really look at it. If you really pull back the curtain, it kind of hurts Sacramento on the De'Aaron Fox wave because you're going to have to probably play, you know, you still got Sabonis. You're going to have to pay DeRozan. Not only that, a key player in Keegan Murray is about to be coming up as well. So if they're going to have to lose somebody, more than likely it's going to be Fox, even though they don't want to lose him. He's got ties to San Antonio. I mean, he loves the city of San Antonio.
Megan doesn't know his wife is from
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I love that. I love hearing that.
Her dad used to coach at Texas Tech, an assistant coach. I know the dad, so I had already said, but I really believe that in my heart that I say it's more, for me, it's 90-10. That he's going to be a Spur next year.
Yeah, so you're hearing it first, like I say, on Sweep the League with Derek here. I mean, De'Aaron Fox definitely is the name that's been thrown around. Derek keeps, you know, saying it, repeating it, he's speaking it into fruition. So De'Aaron Fox, a Spur in 2025. Let's make it happen. That's what I say. I know for a fact that De'Aaron will make a difference. Now, I've tried trying out for the Spurs, and I get the same thing. They say, you know what, you're not even G League material, and I'm like, come on, man, I'm better than Bronny James, right? I got to be better than Bronny James at least. So, not enough to
Look at Megan's face.
What are the Lakers doing?
I don't know. We might have to save that conversation for the next time we have Megan on, but. This is Sweep the League. You know, we've talked about WNBA is WNBA Wednesday. Got a little bit of Spurs talking for you guys out there. MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, La Cocina Taco Truck. And again, shout out to Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs. Appreciate everything that everybody does for us. Megan, appreciate you joining us tonight. I hope we continue this trend to get you on for more WNBA talk. And as well, you're a Cowboy. You cover the Cowboys. You follow them as well. We get into heated debates when it comes. I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm unfortunately a Falcon fan. So I'm the only Falcon fan in Texas, from what I understand. So
that would be correct.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And you know, you don't have to remind me about any type of Super Bowl or anything. Apparently, we were in a couple, so you don't have to remind me about anything like that. You know, I know the Cowboys have rings and all that stuff, so I'm not gonna worry about that. And then Derek's Detroit Lions are going to get their first ring this year. So I'm going to be left out. I'm going to be ringless. Of course, our producer shines Lions at the bottom because they just hate me here at Sweep the League, apparently. So
don't feel bad. The Cowboys are setting us up for a tank. I'm telling you.
That is very well likely. And you know what? When we get into NFL talk starting next week, we got to have you back on to talk some NFL as well. So appreciate you joining us tonight. It's Megan Price, 806 Sports Radio, 1440 AM in Amarillo. If you go to our Facebook page, you can actually see her live on her Facebook page while she's on radio. So if you guys want to follow her there, definitely, she's a great follow. She does a lot in the podcast world. It's the Sip Off, Chicks and Salsa, Three Chicks in a Pod. Like I said, I've been following Megan for a while. She does a fantastic job. One of the hardest workers in general for podcasting, for sports coverage. So appreciate everything that you do and all the coverage that you provide. And thank you for joining us here tonight. So for Megan Price and for, let me say it again, Derek, UTSA Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. I gotta add something to that somewhere.
Well, tonight let's add Hall of Famer Megan Price, because Megan, you were fantastic.
I appreciate it.
See, you even got in the hall. How in the hell? I just keep getting overlooked and everything, man.
Aww.
It's okay. I'll make
Rudy,
the hall.
You in my hall, man.
There we go. I made a Hall of Fame, so definitely made the Hall of Fame tonight. Again, thanks for everybody joining us. We were at 95 strong on the live stream tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us here. Hall of Fame, Megan Price, and Rudy. I get the bottom there.
Appreciate that.
We are all in the Hall of Fame as of tonight. Again, thanks for everybody joining us tonight. This is Sweep the League. Until we sweep the league again tomorrow, we'll see you guys later, knuckleheads.
Stay safe.
Shemaya, you did it.
Wendy, the king is crowned. Cindy, Wendy, king is crowned. Future of the league, and he's wearing it proud. We playing chess, they playing checkers, no contest. Wendy's got the game on lock, and he's making a statement. I'm talking about Wendy.